The problem is I bought it in 2007. Okay. So I lost my house by 2009 and I had to work on my finances, my credit all over again. So it was a blessing because I was able to get into the finance industry and learn all of it from scratch because I didn't really know what I was doing and thought I knew what I was doing. And I was able to learn about home equity lines of credit, buying a house, financing, budget, and Chase taught me a lot of that. So I worked my way up all the way up to a lender with Chase and then transitioned to a smaller bank later on. So I was able to learn from the bottom all the way to the top for lending strategies, what they look for when it comes to credit. But what was crazy is in 2019, people were buying houses like crazy. The interest rates were super, super low. And I was getting a ton of clients who were investors who were buying HELOCs, or not buying HELOCs, getting HELOCs to buy investment properties. Most of them are self-employed. So I had to start telling a lot of people with a lot of money no. And I'm like, why? What's going on here? Where's the disconnect? I don't understand it. I can see their business. They're bringing in millions of dollars because they have all these other businesses. They're self-employed. They invest in real estate. But because we're using their personal home, we cannot use any of their business assets. And to me, there was a huge disconnect there. I'm like, what is going on?
There is. Think about that. So that's important about getting a good tax or wealth strategist to set up your paperwork. So yeah, I was with Bank of America trying to do HELOC when the rates dropped and they just ghosted me 3 weeks in. It's just like, they just stopped responding. But they wanted to say, hey, you're in this joint venture. You're in this LLC. Like, who owns this? Show us the K1s. And it's just these banks, the larger banks, the Chase Bank, they can't handle that.
They can't. And when you're a business owner and you are doing your best to be able to use the tax strategy the best way possible, it's hard for big banks to lend to you. So I started doing my own research. I'm like, okay, what are these investors doing? They're making a ton of money, but yet these banks are not able to lend to them. I'm like, there's a huge disconnect. Let me learn about it. So I got back into real estate, but learning it from a different perspective of it just being like my own personal home. Got on the Robert Kiyosaki train, went down the Pace Morby train, and learned all different types of strategies for it. Then I realized
Did you pay to get on those trains?
I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't.
I'm counting it up as
no, I didn't. But I read the Rich Dad Poor Dad, which obviously changed my life. And I realized I was doing everything wrong and realized all my mistakes that happened back in 2007, 2008 when I lost my house. And I told myself, I said, look, I lost a house. It happened to me really ugly, but it happened to me super young where I was able to recover. And that was a huge aspect of me being able to come back from that. Was I know a lot of people happened to them when they're in close to retirement, lost everything. And I'm like, look, I'm young. I was, like I said, 22 or 23 when I lost my house, that I was able to figure out what I needed to do to fix it. And I said, I'm not going to let this stop me from buying real estate again. I'm not going to let this stop me from learning. So I said, I'll be darned if I'm going to let that stop me. Took me about 5-7 years to fix my credit. Bought another house hacked, and learned the different strategies of being able to buy property, which led me to getting into hard money. Because now I'm able to tell people, yes, it doesn't matter how much money you make. It matters about the deal. And that was the missing link that I think I was missing when I was learning all these things. I'm like, there's a disconnect. There's got to be the money out there. How are they getting it? And how can I be involved?
Yes. So before we go into the hard money, then let's go back because you said a lot there.
There was a lot.
You said it fast.
We can go a lot of different avenues.
No, like you were young, you took action, you bought a house. Most people are nervous to buy a house at that age, but you got the experience in, you got the bumps and bruises in. And then the dynamic that I saw that changed what the trajectory is reading.
Yeah.
You read a book. The things that we are not taught when we were growing up, you stepped outside, you got the education, then once again, you applied the education. So it sounds like you're a go-getter.